I know there's a lot that you don't know. I know there's a lot that you don't understand. I'm here to fix that.
My God. I thought you were dead.
Well, she looks pretty lively to me.
Oh, Godsphere. I have been promoted.
Hello, and welcome to Who Are You? It's a Babylon 5 watchcast by a couple of former strangers, now friends, who are continuing to get to know each other over one of their favorite shows from their childhood, Babylon 5. I'm Laura.
And I'm Xhafer.
And today we're asking, who should play John Sheridan?
Yeah, a little fan recasting. Still no news on our reboot, but we're going to continue this bit out of raw optimism.
Just unfiltered optimism over here, hoping that we will get this someday.
If I can have one outlet of optimism in my life, it's going to be this fan casting. And by that, I mean I have one outlet of optimism in my life, and it's this fan casting.
Boy, that's dark. I hope you have other outlets, Xhafer.
I do. But yeah, so it's Zaha Doom is a big Sheridan episode, which is what we're here to talk about today. So it seemed appropriate to recast our captain. And who do you have in mind, Laura? Who are you thinking?
Well, so John Sheridan's a hard one, right?
Yeah.
In my head, at first, I thought to myself, well, who's a real Bill Pullman type? Because I think there's a very, very good connection between like Bruce Boxleitner and Bill Pullman vibes, right? I'm not the only one who feels this. Okay. And so I just started out Googling Bill Pullman, and I found out he's got a son that is in the right age range to play John Sheridan.
Okay.
So I was looking at Lewis Pullman. He's recently been in Top Gun Maverick, apparently, and also played Major in Catch-22. So I was like, hey,
I watched
military stuff. He can do this, right? He's got military chops here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to need him to like fluff up his hair more, though. He doesn't have fluffy enough hair for a John Sheridan for me in a lot of these headshots that I'm looking at. So we'll have to figure out some styling.
Fluffy hair also factors into my fan cast, and I really appreciate that you bring it up.
Yeah, I definitely want him to have like the other actor that I looked at was Adam Scott, because he's got some good swoopy doos in some of his work, right?
Yeah. He's got the second swoopiest hair in Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
Of course, second only to John Ralphio.
John Ralphio, my fave. So I'm thinking, if we can't get Lewis Pullman's hair right, maybe we have to go with Adam Scott. But what about you, Xhafer?
Well, so I had originally, like when we first talked about this bit, I'm like, I know exactly who I want to fan cast as Sheridan. Like, this was when we talked about doing fan casting, I'm all like, I want Olivia Wilde as John Sheridan.
Right.
And it's in my head, and this was a while ago now.
Yeah.
And we're going to do research on Olivia Wilde to talk about this bit, having figured, I've got this one in the bag. This is going to be the easiest cold open. I found out she's actually said some really terrible shit.
That's the
She's apparently
worst.
very homophobic from what I was able to find online. She said some really homophobic stuff. So no, you don't get my fan cast anymore, Olivia Wilde, for that reason. So that was a bummer. So then I'm like, okay, well, I've got to think about who I want to be my captain. And my immediate first thought, of course, is Anson Mount, who I always want to be my captain.
Yeah. Oh, Captain, my captain. Anson Mount.
Oh, for sure. 100%. Yeah. He's great in Strange New Worlds, and I don't care. I don't care. He'd be great as John Sheridan. But in the interest of not just projecting my dreams into reality and maybe picking something that is a little bit more grounded and also a little bit closer to what I originally wanted to do, because I thought it'd be fun to do Olivia Wilde because of Tron and Tron Legacy. So I want someone who's got some like 20-year-old sci-fi chops that was kind of a young hotshot in a movie and now we can see them progressed into a more mature role. I did go for something a little bit more military than Tron. I'm
Okay.
thinking Starship Troopers, and I'm thinking Casper Van Dyne.
Oh, okay.
He's got the swoopy hair. He has not said anything terrible I could find over with about 5 minutes of Googling.
I'm from Buenos Aires, and I say kill them all.
And he's got the look.
Yeah. Full disclosure, I didn't Google to see if Lewis Pullman was problematic. I just am coasting off of the Bill Pullman vibes, so hopefully he's not.
Yeah, I think Casper Van Dyne's got the look. Definitely has the background. Has done a lot of really terrible sci-fi movies and stuff, and like just B-movie acting. And I feel like he could do a really good job with it, given something that's got a little bit more seriousness to it. Like there are instances, and I'm sure we can all think of something like this, where a great actor can elevate dialogue. Like a great actor can take shitty dialogue and make it great. And a great writer can take a not as high caliber actor and elevate them with great dialogue written for them.
Yeah, sure.
And I don't want to like shit on Casper Van Dyne, but he is like a B+ player at best. You know?
Yeah.
He's not out here getting Oscars for best actor. He's not someone who you think of when you're like, who elevates their craft, you know? He's not a Juan Carlo Esposito, you know, who can take drool and make it interesting. So I think having someone like JMS in his corner would allow him to elevate his craft to the next level.
Yeah, I'm looking at, just the basic Wikipedia here, and I'm seeing that he not only rode the Starship Troopers train, he rode it all the way to Starship Troopers 3, which can't be great.
It's not. I've watched all those movies.
Okay.
There's a lot of really, really bad ones. I think the 2 was not great. 3 was bad. The animated one was real rough. But yeah, Casper Van Dyne. That's my pick.
Yeah, I like it.
All right. Well, lacking a good segue, I do want to call out that this episode was directed by Adam Nimoy, which I thought was super fun.
Oh, really? Yeah, I can see why we had Adam on this one, because it needed a strong director, and I think we got one.
Yeah, there's lots of very wide open, kind of very scenic style shots that I think his eye lends itself well to. We've got season 3, episode 22, Zahadum. Did I say that right?
Zahadu.
Yeah, I mean, that's
I'm gonna let myself make that once.
Say it, right?
Yeah.
That's what it looks like, right? Yeah. Nailed it.
Nah. Season 3, episode 22, Zahadum.
Yeah, so we get a last time on as we open. We see where we left off in the last episode, Anna Sheridan showing up in the middle of the night. Delenn breaks the snow globe, and then we all are shocked and awed that Anna's here.
Anna Sheridan. We get some flashbacks to the Icarus and Mr. Morden reminding us how dead Anna is.
Yeah. Yeah. That good look for Sheridan episode comes back up.
Yep.
Yeah. So then once we've wrapped up the past there a little bit, Sheridan's just kind of slack-jawed staring at Anna. And she's kind of a jerk, like right off.
Delenn's just like, nope, and gets the hell out of there.
Fair.
Which, good on her. I got to imagine I would do the exact same thing in a similar situation. Just like, you guys got some shit to figure out. I don't need to be here for that. Bye. There was a minute where it looked like John was going to try and stop her. Like he goes to, and then he just stops himself. That is the right move.
Yeah. I don't know if she was thinking, if Delenn was really thinking about it, like, the only way this person is back here is somehow related to this big enemy that we're fighting. Like, maybe you shouldn't leave. Like, should you leave him alone with her? I don't know, but I get it. In the moment, that freaks you out.
Yeah, and the second she does, Anna's all like, What do you mean you thought I was dead? Delenn didn't tell you I was alive. Delenn knew I was alive. Oh, you trusted her?
Ooh.
Just takes that axe and starts to wedge them apart immediately.
Yeah.
And nothing grinds Sheridan's gears quite like being manipulated. And you can tell immediately because the first thing they do is go down to MedLab to be all like, okay, well, you're getting checked the fuck out.
Yeah. I mean, this is the logical first step, at least, right?
I would hope so. Yeah.
We've got to get this checked out. So we go to Theme, and back from Theme, Jakar has found some nuclear weapons.
Yeah. Just some nukes.
Just a few.
Just a bunch of them.
Yeah. It's like 50 or something, right? It's kind of
it's
a
like
lot.
50 or 60 nukes from the Gaim.
Uh-huh. These are like special nukes. They're not going to show up on scanners.
Yeah.
Extra powerful. And he's showing these off to Ivana. Of course, she's thrilled.
Boom. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom. Boom.
Yeah. Really weird that they'd bring up these nukes and then just turn away and not bring it up for the rest of the episode, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Weird place setting. I feel like
that for later.
Right. Normally JMS, I don't want to call this sloppy, but having this scene in this episode is a little like it's not his style. I feel like we should have gotten this at a Z-4, which, by the way, where the hell was the Z- in this episode?
Oh, I thought, I thought I was writing those down, and I didn't write one down, so,
Yeah,
maybe
same.
there wasn't.
I don't think there was a Z- in this one.
I guess it's just Z now. We're there.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, no, sloppy is not the word I would use. I have a different word for it, but I'm going to save that till the rating.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, that's fair. So after this, by the way, so we go down to MedLab after we hear about the nukes, and Franklin is checking out Anna, and it's only been 2 days since he was stuck in a wheelchair and forced to delegate, and he is now actively moving around MedLab with a cane and doing everything himself all over again.
Huh. I wonder how well that lesson stuck.
Yeah. Go to therapy.
Yeah. Let's hope he's seeing the chief counseling officer or whatever off screen somewhere. Yeah, so he confirms this is Anna, right?
Mm-hmm.
As far as he can
Yeah,
tell.
the DNA matches.
Right.
You know, every check that he can run. He's like, I've got a couple more tests, but it's not looking like it's going to be easy pickings here. This isn't just a hard no. This is Anna.
Yeah, there's this thing maybe on her neck. I got to look at it a little closer. Back of her neck, kind of weird. I don't know, but
some weird
seems
scars,
fine.
yeah. So after this, Sheridan goes and talks with Delenn while Anna's still getting checked out. And he is pretty upset.
Yeah.
Because if she knew that his wife was possibly still alive, just even the slightest possibility, and then entered into a relationship with him, there's definitely some unethical implication there on Delenn. And Delenn's like, look, they either killed her or she volunteered. Either way, that's not your wife no more.
Yeah. I mean, she's not wrong. I think Bruce Boxleitner did a really bang-up job in this episode. I wrote that down pretty early with his emotions around these two ladies, especially around dead wife. It was all really good, really believable. And, I think one of the things Delenn says is that part of the reason they didn't even entertain the idea that Anna could be alive is that she and Kosh were both afraid that he would take off and go to Zahadum, and they both know for some reason that he should not go to Zahadum, right?
Yeah, and he's been told he can't go to Zahadum enough that when it comes up this time, he pulls out his phone, buys a Delta Comfort Plus ticket one way to Zahadum immediately.
Next stop, Zahadum.
In his mind. Like, he is going and he is going to be comfy for the ride there. He has already decided, if I can't go there, I must go there. It is a ball. I am a 5-year-old and you have told me no.
Yeah. And he's not the kind of man who can accept mysteries in life and that some things don't have answers, and he knows his answers are on Zahadum. I mean,
Yep.
he's got to get him.
He's got to get him. Delenn owns up that Anna basically cannot be the same. No one leaves Zahadum unchanged.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's foreshadowing. Anyway, she's right pissed about this whole thing. Yeah. There's one cute little line that I just want to call out, which is Delenn says she loves him, and if he never believes another word that she says, to believe that.
Yeah. That was
cute. Nice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But speaking of people who are pissed.
Yeah, not the only one.
Yeah, Londo is a little bit distraught at being promoted. He's not happy
about it.
Yeah, he's talking to Veer, and he's had a messenger or some sort of message that the royal court wants him to be an advisor. He's been promoted.
Yep. And he's just like, well, one, I should have gotten this job 20 years ago when I was young enough to enjoy it.
Yeah, okay.
Fair. I don't know. Part of me feels like that's skeezy as fuck. Like that's a really skeezy comment to make. But also, I have said that about a job that I've had in the past because I spent 5 years traveling around the country for work.
Yeah.
And I did that in my mid to late 20s. And it was a great time to do that. When I did not have any kind of real obligations tying me to an area, I got to just go and explore and stay in cities over the weekend when I wasn't working and just like see America on the company dime. And I'm super fortunate I was able to do that. And if I were to do that job now, I'm a couple years away from 40, I would not have the same experience. I would go home or I'd go to my hotel room and sleep, and I'd come home on the weekends. And I'm sure I'd do some stuff sometimes, but not nearly to the level that I did when I was younger. And so maybe I should give Londo the benefit of the doubt, but maybe I should remember that Londo is a fucking genocider, and we can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it's very entitled to say, I should have had this 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't for some reason. Huh. Weird. Yeah. And then while they're having this discussion, alluding that Londo is going to have to go home to the Centauri homeworld at some point, a mysterious guy shows up and says, hey, if you want to live, you should get off this station.
Yeah. We have mutual associates. And Veer's just all like, Morden, and Londo's like, who the fuck else?
Yeah. There's one person we call an associate on this damn show.
Right. Human dressed in all black without a Psycorp in. Must be Morden.
Yeah. Must be shadows somehow. Yeah.
Franklin finds something in Anna's brain scans, which we get really quick before it moves on. And then we cut over to Anna, who basically says that her old self is dead. And without saying it exactly, she's like, look, I'm doing important work on Zahadum. I'm going back. Anything that remains between it, like I'm not staying on Babylon 5 with you. I need you to come back with me to have this meeting. And that's all she's really interested in talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, she's very flippant about having been on Zahadum for so long without messaging her husband, seeing her husband. Like, if Anna was unchanged, right? And she had just stayed on Zahadum and not called Sheridan at all this whole time. Like, dude, that is not your wife. Like, even if she hasn't been manipulated by shadows, like, who does that? Who does that? So.
Yeah, she's like, there is no conversation that exists in her mind that is about them getting back together. Like, that is not an option that her mind is considered or something that she's interested in talking about. That's done. Their marriage is dead. And she does not make any pretense to save it. She's all like, you need to come back to Zahadum to hear what my bosses have to say to you. Not even to come stay with me because my work is so important and I can't leave it behind, or to come join this work. That's not what she says at all. That's not what the interest is.
Yeah, it's not come with me because I love you. Like, there's no
Yeah.
that would be lies. I mean, it would
Yeah.
be lies at this point. But Sheridan is starting to crack, but he's not going to go with her without some answers first.
Yeah. So we get a little bit of backstory on what actually happened with interplanetary expeditions and the Icarus. We learn the source of the location of Zahadum wasn't a probe, as we had heard in a previous episode, but rather a beacon that they had placed on the shadow ship on Mars that we saw back in season 2.
Yeah. Garibaldi told us about this ship at least, right?
Yeah.
And that he and Sinclair happened to see it, both of them.
Mm-hmm. When they were stationed on Mars.
Yeah. Yeah. She says that an accident killed the crew of the Icarus.
Yeah. And some kind of accident killed 1,000 people. Yeah.
So not everyone died, obviously, because she's here, right? But killed some of them. They got to basically just stay and study the shadow technology in exchange for not contacting anybody and playing dead.
After this, we cut over to Sheridan's office. He gives Garibaldi a reason to get the crew off of the White Star and some miscellaneous tasks, which Garibaldi puts together immediately.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
And he's just like going over this list. It's all like, make sure no one gets back on the White Star until this time. Sure, whatever. Make sure that Delenn gets this message in case, I don't get a chance to record or whatever. Make sure 2 nukes end up on the White Star. And he's like, what?
This is a lot of trust. A lot of trust between Garibaldi and Sheridan here.
Yes. And the story of their ability to trust each other. This is the first, remember the first time you were on a roller coaster?
Maybe.
And it started pulling you up. And you have that moment of anticipation, knowing that something's happening, and you have a general idea of what's going to happen, but the exact emotion of it is still foreign to you.
Yeah.
That is this moment. That moment on the roller coaster as you start to get pulled up the first time, and this moment with the 2 of them and the trust. It's that same moment. And the ride that the relationship that is these 2 is about to take.
Yeah.
Starts moving.
Garibaldi takes the list and he agrees.
Yep.
And then when they see each other again, they're going to talk about the weather.
If it was all done, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the code word. Sheridan starts getting ready as the ghost of Koshmas' past reminds him that he's going to die.
Yeah. As if he could forget this. Everyone keeps telling him, you're going to go to, if you go to Zahadum, you're going to die. He's not only heard it from Kosh, he's heard it from future Delenn too.
Mm-hmm.
And I would think future Delenn would have a pretty good handle on that. It's her past.
Right. Well, she doesn't say he's going to die, clearly. And he knows that he's in the future, so he must survive.
Well, yeah. Okay. But she did tell him, don't go.
Yeah. Well, yeah, she tells him don't go. And we find out why in a couple of episodes.
But also, he, of course, as all humans do in this sort of thing, when you're confronted with that sort of time travel, past, future, what happens, says, well, what if it all happened because I listened to her and didn't go to Zahadum? So I have to go.
No, she would have said go to Zahadum then. If she had figured it all out. There's something else. But that's
Time
fine.
travel.
He gets on the White Star with Anna and they head out. And then dramatically after he leaves, Franklin reveals that he found something wrong with Anna's scans. And also Sheridan knows there's something wrong with Anna's scans. This was communicated to him before.
Yeah. We saw at the end of his conversation with Anna, a screen that showed the 2 brain images or whatever. So we know it was in his hands.
Yeah. Sheridan and Anna make it to the Shadow's base. She takes his gun as they head underground, but we know he packed 2. We saw him pack a second gun already.
Yeah.
And they enter the room with Justin and Mr. Morden. Sheridan asks Justin, "Who are you?" And
Yeah,
it's
he didn't
great
like
because
it.
he just refuses to answer that specific question. He
Mhm.
dances around it and doesn't answer it at all. It's great. It's just like he says a bunch of cryptic shit, and then he's like, "Oh, but you can call me Justin."
Yeah, it makes him visibly uncomfortable to be asked this question.
Just like it was visibly uncomfortable for Anna to be on a partially Vorlon ship.
Yes. Yeah, she did not like it. She voiced it a couple of times, I
Mhm.
think, that she was not comfortable here.
Yeah.
She didn't even try the bed.
Right. So, point of order here.
Mhm.
How long do you think they're on the White Star together?
Yeah, that we don't really get a sense of that, do we? Like how long it takes to get from Babylon 5 to Zahadum. It happens very fast.
I feel like this is why we lost our Z minuses. Because
Uh-huh.
we were at Z minus 2 days when Anna showed up.
Right.
They can't be on the station together more than
A day?
12 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they don't go to bed, you know? There's
Uh-huh.
no sleeping. It's the same. She shows up at midnight or whatever,
Mhm.
and they get on that ship before the end of that day.
Yeah, totally.
So that means we are Z minus a day and a half
Mm-hmm.
of travel, just hanging out with Anna on the White Star for a day and a half.
It's so strange to me that if this is true, that Zahadum and the site of his wife's demise was a day and a half away this whole time, and
I mean,
Sheridan was never
hyperspace travel
tempted
is
to go.
fast, but yeah, it's like I know that there's like a consistent set of traveling that the show pretty much adheres to, but at the same time, it's traveling through hyperspace. JMS has been all like, it's different on purpose because hyperspace changes. So it's like it's like he set up the thing of it for his own plot convenience so that he wouldn't have to worry about being told by nerds he was wrong the whole time.
Yeah.
So good on him for
Yeah,
that
smart
foresight.
move.
Having been to a Star Trek convention before making this show, clearly.
Yeah.
Having sat in the room where people were asking those questions at a Star Trek convention before. But yeah, it's like a day and a half, and like that has to be the most awkward car ride ever.
Oh, yeah. With someone who is like clearly uncomfortable with and disdaining your car.
Right?
And that you don't know what they are anymore. And
Yeah. It's a whole thing. It's so awkward. Anyways, back to where we were. Justin gives this whole speech. I tuned it out. It sounded like boomer shit. Delenn gets her message from Sheridan, who notes that his experience in the future from before, and as we aforementioned, maybe we can avoid this thing. And just like the raw bravado to just be like, well, past me fucked up. Well, future me fucked up. And future you told me that past me fucked up. But I'm going to do better this time.
Yeah, the hubris.
Right.
Okay, Sheridan, good luck. Yeah. We cut back to Zahadum, and both Justin and Morden are like trying to justify the Shadows' position. The Vorlons and the Shadows were the races that stayed behind after a bunch of older races moved on. They were supposed to shepherd these younger races into something better,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, this is the worst Ayn Rand timeshare pitch in history.
Yeah.
He just wanted his blender, and he's stuck listening to this for 6 hours, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the Shadow, yeah, right. The Shadows are just like, we're just weeding the garden of life, or whatever genocidal sociopaths tell themselves to sleep at night.
Yeah. I feel like this has come up in human history before.
Mm-hmm.
Yikes. They say basically that their philosophy is to make others stronger by conflict.
Yeah.
Very
let them
Darwinian.
kill off the weakest and the strongest will flourish. And that's not how any of this works. Like, if you take 20 minutes to think about survival of the fittest in any regard that isn't specifically like hunter prey kind of like who's the best at catching dinner style, the second you bring civilization into it, the entire thing goes out the window. It has no
Right.
legs to stand on whatsoever. And when you start factoring in things like weapons of mass destruction or guns, the vacuum of space, like all of these things are immediately out the window. Survival of the fittest has not applied to civilization in thousands of years and will continue not to. And it's just like,
there are lots of situations where cooperation trumps strength every time.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of something I said earlier, not even on this podcast, but I think it might have been on my old podcast, Draft the Universe. I said that Thanos has the understanding of a 15-year-old who read the dust jacket of the Tragedy of the Commons.
Yeah.
I feel like the Shadows have the understanding of a 15-year-old who read the dust jacket of Darwin. Like, it's just absurd. Like, they heard a thing and they thought they made a connection and they've decided to base their entire civilization around it without questioning whether or not it was a good idea in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ugh.
It reminds me of something I heard once, that Economics 101 has done a terrible amount of damage in our country in the last, couple of decades. Everybody takes Economics 101 and they think they understand economics. And yeah.
You spend 10 minutes learning about Malthus and you think you're a fucking expert and you're like, oh, well, disease and war will just happen to bring the population down. It's like, no, you're a fucking idiot. You missed the point entirely. Congratulations.
Yeah. That's the Shadows.
That's the Shadows. Ugh. Oh God, I could rant about people who think they understand economics but don't. I've done it for days. I've spent days of my life doing this, and I will for the rest of my life. Such is the curse of actually studying economics.
But on Babylon 5, we have a shadow fleet that is descended all of a sudden. Detected in CNC.
Yeah, they just show up. They're just here to hang. They got the invite. It's 4:19. They know what's going down. They're just ready to hang out, Like, we just showed up a minute early, no bigs.
Big panic in CNC.
Yeah, they are not happy about this. They are fucked and they know it. They try reaching out to Drawl, but they can't get through.
Yeah, I'm glad we brought that up, because Drawl should be here, right?
Firing from the planet right now.
Yeah. Drawl should know that they're in distress, right? Even if they can't reach him, especially if they can't reach him, right? He can see the shadows right there.
I think Drawl can kind of see everything. And so I think the reason Drawl doesn't act is because he knows it's okay.
Oh, he knows that Sheridan's on Zahadum.
Yeah, he knows that this is the backup plan right now, and that he knows that Sheridan's got the nukes. He knows Sheridan's plan. I don't think he is concerned for Babylon 5, and that's why he doesn't just fire.
Okay. That I will buy that. I'll take some headcanon there.
The timeshare pitch continues. The Vorlons are fascists, which yes, they are. But just because you're fighting fascists, actually, which camera's pointed at Stalin and Dick Cheney right now? I want to make sure they hear this. Just because you're fighting fascists doesn't mean you're not a piece of shit.
These two things aren't necessarily mutually exclusive. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Just because you don't like the fascists doesn't mean that you aren't a fascist or a genocider or a terrible, sad excuse for existence.
Yeah. You can be fighting fascists and also be a fascist. Like, I can.
Yes. Lots of fascists fight fascists. They're competition.
Good point. So the Vorlons have been unfairly manipulating this process, and chaos evolution is this better idea, according to Mr. Morden. They know about the Vorlons seeding telepaths around,
Yeah.
which we learned about in book club specifically, the actual process of that. And yeah, they've decided to get into that. So they've confirmed that they have a presence in Psychor. They've decided to turn these weapons the Vorlons were creating against them.
The Shadows were like, Sheridan, we just want you to get everyone to stop playing nice, because then humanity will win. And that's what you care about, right? Humanity winning. Humanity's a race that shows great promise. So just let all these other weaker races fight it out. Yeah, some humans will die in the war, but whatever, you all fight amongst yourselves. You'll be fine.
Yeah, we can't just kill you, because if we
Delenn will
killed
take your
you,
place.
yeah, the
Kill
whole
Delenn. We
martyr
gotta kill
thing.
Marcus. I'm gonna kill Lanier. Like, the list goes on.
Yeah, we need you to go back and sow discord instead. You can't just become a martyr here.
Yeah.
And Sheridan's pretty pissed. I mean,
Yeah.
This whole episode is Sheridan being in an emotional state of some kind.
Yeah. Rightfully so. So he plays his hand. Look, I know that's not Anna. I know she was put into a shadow ship. I know way more than you think I know. And just like I know this shadow is sneaking up on me right now, and he grabs his pistol and starts blasting.
Anyway, I started blasting.
Yeah, Justin tried to tell him that she chose poorly. So at least he can, go out knowing that the real Anna did not want to serve the shadows. And so this is literally just her body. And the person he loved didn't dramatically change other than dying.
Yeah.
She didn't betray him.
Which is a dramatic change.
Yeah. Definitely a dramatic change. But she didn't betray him. She didn't betray what he thought she was and the person that she was. So that's got to be some sort of comfort, right?
Mm-hmm. We cut over to Jakar, who tells us that 2 nukes are missing. So we can cut back over to Sheridan, who's a fucking wreck.
Yeah. I want to know what was the fight like?
What is the implication here? Yeah. Did he just fight off at least a shadow, an actual shadow, that was crawling up on him with its giant knife hands? Did he fight that thing off? Presumably Anna, Morden, and Justin. He had to get away from all 4 of them with a pistol, and he was surrounded.
Yeah. Did he get to beat Morden's ass this time?
He looks like he was in a physical fight. He is not just bloodied, he is bruised. He has been punched. Shit has happened. But he made it out alive, and he finds the Shadow City. He calls down the White Star, activates the nukes right as this message tells Delenn that he loves her. And just before the White Star hits the giant skylight in the bathroom, Kasha's voice tells John to jump. So he does, into the giant pit as the nukes go off on Zahadum. What a fucking sequence.
Yeah, this is good.
It's so good they put it in the theme for next year.
Yeah. Iconic, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this sequence is just what a move.
That piece of Kosh that Lita detected and said, hey, there might still be a piece somewhere. That really came in handy, didn't it?
It did. And this is the last of it, too, I think. I mean, I haven't watched into season 4 in a while. It's been a couple years.
It seems a logical way to go out.
I mean, even Kosh is he says something along the lines of, when you go to Zahadum, well, I'll be with you, but that will be the end of me.
Yeah, okay.
I will go, this piece of me will live in you effectively, and it's going to die at Zahadum. So.
Yeah, it would have been a nice touch if we could have worked in something about either Anna or the other 2, Morden and Justin, feeling uncomfortable in some way. They could kind of feel Kosh and makes them not happy.
I would vibe with that if they weren't so anti-telepath. Like, I think the way you would have done it is if Bester had shown up between Kosh dying and Sheridan going, and when he like was in the room with Sheridan like was glowing or something. Like there was something different about him that he
Yeah,
like
okay.
physically saw. Not like an active scan, which would set off a whole other conversation. But like
Yeah.
if we had a scene where we had like seen Sheridan through Bester's eyes and he was like glowing or something,
Yeah.
I think that could have
Or
been.
Bester says
Maybe he had
something about
wings, like angel wings or something. Like you can do a couple
Yeah.
things with it to make him look a little more Vorlon-y.
Yeah.
That would have been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Anyways, the shadow ships retreat, and Ivanova takes it as a sign that Sheridan is dead. The only
Yeah.
reason they would leave is if we're no longer a threat.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
And then Jakar gives us our end of the year wrap up. It's the end of 2260. My favorite line of this is the universe is holding its breath.
Mm-hmm.
That was good.
Yeah. Yeah. Corwin can't raise the White Star. Turns out one of the fighters that scrambled to try to save Babylon 5 from all those shadow ships didn't come back. And it was Mr. Garibaldi.
Yep. And we see him in a shadow, like we see his starfighter in a shadow ship.
Yeah, not a good sign. And
No.
then we end on the smoking crater of Zahadum with a couple of shadow ships flying around, assessing the situation, perhaps. So, a very bleak way to end a season.
Yeah. I mean, the name of the season was Point of No Return. Feels like we hit a couple of those, and this episode is for sure one of them.
Yeah.
Well, you had teased us a little bit at the start with a hint as to your rating of this episode.
Yeah.
And so I'd really like to hear your rating of this episode on a scale of Babylon's 1 to 5.
Well, before I put numbers on it,
Ooh.
specifically, I said that sloppy was not the word I would use for a specific part of this episode, right? A word I would use for this episode is rushed.
It feels that way.
Felt rushed. And when you know the context of what was going on with the show, and we think we're not going to get a 5th season. So
had that started at this point?
I thought it had.
Okay.
I thought
I'm not 100% sure. I'd believe it, but it does. The episode definitely felt the pacing was not as solid as some other ones.
Yeah. It feels like we were cramming too much story into this spot.
Yeah, but I also don't feel like this needs to be a 2-parter. I feel like this episode needed 10 minutes. Like 5-10 more minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, and it would have been great. But that was a lot harder to do back in the day.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
in streaming world, we can just tack on another 10 minutes. Who cares? Whatever.
Yeah, who cares how long the episode is? Yeah.
You're not shortchanging any advertisers. You're not running into the next show. It's fine. But I don't know. I do feel like I needed more than one episode with Anna Sheridan.
Yeah.
I feel like we could have established her a little bit better and maybe had a little more mystery about what happened to her. Is she really real? Is she not real? We get kind of 20 minutes of that, and then we know exactly what's going on. I felt like there could have been a little more with Anna. I agree with you about the nukes. Maybe the nukes could have been planted a little earlier. If we'd had 2 episodes, we could have kind of done that.
Yeah.
The way I remember this story, this part of the story, I almost do remember it like it was more than 1 episode. A little bit longer on Zahadum even could have been interesting. All of that kind of comes down to maybe another 20 minutes.
Yeah. Maybe you could cut a little bit of stuff out of And the Rock Cried Out No Hiding Place. Get something about the nukes there before Jakar leaves, maybe.
Yeah,
or maybe he can't have those if he knows he's going to Homeworld. That might add a complication to things. Whatever, you could figure that out. Do that, move a couple things out of there, maybe cut a little bit out of the Franklin walkabout stuff to just get a little bit of breathing room at the end of the episode. And then when Anna Sheridan shows up, do a little bit more with it, move that conversation from the start of this episode and the flashback stuff to the end of that episode,
Mm-hmm.
and then get yourself a little bit more space in this one to do a couple of things. But I mean, we're playing 3D chess now. Like, it's all over the place. There's all kinds of considerations to be made.
And we have the benefit of, like, storytelling has changed in 30 years. So
because of this show. So we can only give it so much shit.
Yeah. So all that said, like, I feel like it was rushed. I wish certain parts of it had been a little more, but this is still a very solid episode. I don't know if I can give it 5 out of 5 because I have those criticisms that, like, oh, I wish there was more, but it's definitely 4 out of 5 for me. I mean, it's solid.
Yeah, no, I had it at a 4.5. It's a great episode. I really would have liked to have seen the fight with Sheridan and the three of them in the shadow.
Yeah.
But that's my only real, like, heavy complaint. And maybe that was, we had the giant action sequence a couple episodes ago with the big Shadow Fleet fight. So maybe you didn't want to do another one so soon. Maybe they couldn't afford to.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's the end of the season, so you know how many CGI dollars you've got left. So maybe it was a budgeting thing. I don't know. It just felt a little off. I would have liked that scene. But besides that, 4.5 out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that's our season.
It is. So what do we have coming up?
Well, we've got a couple things. Listener, if you've been with us since the beginning or gone back and are listening through, you'll know that we have a little bit of a different cadence when we get to the end of the season than our normal episodes. We're not going to go straight into season 4, episode 1. We're going to do a season 3 recap next week. The week after, we're going to have a book club, which is going to be the Psychor Trilogy Book 2. We're then going to take 2 weeks off for our own sanity and editing catch up and to give us a little bit more leeway with the baby.
Gonna need
that's our excuse this time. We only get to use that the once, but we take 2 weeks off at the end of every season anyways. Mm-hmm. And then after those 4 weeks between the 2 episodes and the 2 weeks of break, we'll be back with season 4, episode 1, which is Hour of the Wolf. But I'll read the episode description after book club.
Leave us hanging, just like this cliffhanger at the end of the season did. Although, did you look at I guess you're on Vudu, right?
Yes.
Did you look at the episodes on Vudu? Does it have the air dates on all of your episodes?
I have no idea.
Okay, because we noticed we're watching on iTunes or the Apple TV, whatever you call it these days, that the air dates for end of season 3, beginning of season 4 were remarkably close together.
Really?
Yeah. And I guess I should have Googled it before I sat down here, but I'm going to do it now and try to figure out if that was right, because it was like season 3, this episode was like October of 1996, and the next one was in November of 1996.
Weird.
I'm going to Google it now.
That's real tight. If it was that tight, then that would check out with the counting clock of the show and the whole season 4 thing.
Yes. Okay, I'm confirming it. I'm looking on the Babylon 5 fandom wiki. Zahadum, season 3, episode 2022, first aired October 28th, 1996. The Hour of the Wolf, season 4, episode 1, November 4th, 1996.
Wow.
Yeah. That's not how I remember TV working in the 90s, but I was a child.
Let's see, January to October for season 1, November to August for season 2, November to September for season 3, November to October for season 4, and then January to November for season 5.
Mm-hmm.
So they must have been taking long breaks in between airings at that point. Because that's not running an episode every week,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like, you're having to skip.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some place.
Oh, yeah, look at it. So I just pulled up all the dates. So War Without End Part 2, May 20th. Walkabout, September 30th.
Yeah. Interesting.
Although it did air in August 18th in the UK. So that's your big jump right there. So they probably saved these episodes to start the next one.
Yeah. Run it all together.
Break. Because yeah, it's October 28th, November 4th. That's next week.
Yeah. That week
So
apart.
they just effectively they ended the season at War Without End. And then you had to wait your 5 months for the last 5 episodes. Oh, that's some real Sci-Fi Channel shit.
Yeah. I mean, I was a child at that time, so I didn't have the context of like why the network would be doing these things or even what they were doing. Like you just hear, oh, well, it's going to be a while.
It's all over the place.
It just goes to show you how spoiled we are now with the streaming environment where sometimes things will drop all at once.
Yeah.
There's a few of the networks that are stringing some things out, like, new Star Treks are one a week, and when HBO Max is doing a Game of Thrones one a week. But we're really spoiled with all these shows that drop all at once, and then these podcasts that record every week.
You know what else we're really spoiled with?
Mhm.
Our lovely theme music from Jeremy Siegel.
We really are, yeah.
Yeah. You can find more of Jeremy's work at jeremysiegel42.bandcamp.com. Also on the Spotify, Nuclear Jaguar. Has the March album dropped yet? It has not.
And not at the time of recording, but it will be out before this episode, I am certain.
I'm sure. Yeah. As if it's happening. I haven't talked to Jeremy about it. Because of my Facebook friend request is still pending, Jeremy.
Oh, rude. I'll say something.
But I sat down with both the albums the other day, and they're great. I really liked them a lot. I really liked There It Is and Ebb and Flow off January. It was really good.
And I know March is in process
work.
because I have seen some postings about it. So
okay,
March will be out.
I'm looking forward to it.
And also, we're spoiled with great podcast artwork from Angry Duck Time Machine on Instagram.
Thank you, Angry Duck Time Machine. Thank you, Aaron, for editing our podcast and putting up with our collective bullshit. Really appreciate you.
We do, yeah. And thank you to you listeners for also listening and putting up with our collective bullshit. We couldn't appreciate you more.
We really appreciate everything you guys do in the community. whoareyoup5@gmail.com. You can shoot us an email. You can find us on Twitter, but if you follow us, know that I will look at your Twitter and then ban you if you post a bunch of turf shit. That happened this week.
Oh no. Unfortunate.
I got no problem saying this podcast like is not for you. Like
yeah.
I can't imagine liking a podcast on Twitter and then getting blocked by them, but we do it. Don't post hateful shit on the internet. It's not hard, people.
Yeah, it's not, but here we are.
The Discord's where it's at. Love our Discord community. And yeah, we'll see you all next week for our season 3 recap.
All right. Bye.
Bye, internet.